He says, most XRP builders say XRP will not go to triple digits and say it can work with low prices. XRP, I feel dumb thinking we're right. It's going to 4 digits. So it can, and both can be true. So this is, again, this is like, I'm having this repeated experience like every single day this week. I'm talking to developers and people that, you know, like the Node guys and everybody else that are super developer ecosystem centric and grassroots driven, and they believe that, and that's really how networks have grown up to this point, so they're not wrong, okay? Once you get, you know, developers on your network and people are building applications and there's some adoption and utility of it and people come in and like there's a community around it and people hold the asset because they believe in it, you get some momentum and price can appreciate from that. We've seen that happen with Ethereum, we've seen it happen with Solana, we've seen it happen with other tokens as well. XRP is a bit different. It is built for institutional applications, in my personal opinion. The amendments that have been proposed and adopted on the network over the past 12 months show that explicitly. Like digital identity, credentials, permission domain, permission DEX, AMMs, those are not for individual use. That is for institutional adoption. So my argument on the other side of that is it will be used as collateral. And again, we've already seen that we're locking it up on Flare, they're wrapping it and locking it up on Solana. The more XRP that gets locked up, the less is available for value transfer in these other applications, which requires a higher price XRP. And so I think the paradigm through most of these ecosystems, and even our ecosystem on the XRPL on the developer side, is that there's an abundant amount of XRP that's never going to be locked up. And there's always going to be this just outstanding amount that's out there, and we won't need a high price in order to facilitate a lot of the value transfer or other utility-driven applications that people are building. And that is true. It is true. It works in most circumstances, especially not at scale. I mean, 1500 TPS is great for most people, especially if it's a small community transacting and you're never going to reach that. Now, enterprise adoption, MasterCard and Visa, they require 30,000 TPS per second. Each one of them, not both together. That's independent of one another. So you need like 60,000 TPS per second, or transactions per second, in order to be able to facilitate enough for MasterCard and Visa. So you need an implicit or explicit subnet on the XRPL in order to be able to facilitate that level of value transfer and throughput. That is a patent that Bob Wade created for Ripple. It's an enterprise application. So both of these things can be true at the same time. And not one person's right or wrong. Now, the people that say that it can't go to high prices, they will be wrong. But it's not going to happen by the mechanism by which they think price appreciation is going to happen either. It's going to be because XRP becomes premium collateral and is locked up, and there's far less of it on the open market than they are anticipating being available. So, you know, that's my dissertation on the dichotomy or the, you know, difference in people's opinions that are out there. The JBH says, "Hey legend, just became a member after watching for over a year." Thanks, dude. Appreciate you. He says, wondering if you could shed some insight on volume remaining on OTC desk dark pools and exchanges. I've finally made my way to the top 4% of holders. Thanks. Congratulations, dude. Well done. If you don't know what he's talking about, you can go over there to XRP Rich List, which is rich-list.info. Shout out to Francis Bovine, who runs one of the validators on the XRPL and continues to maintain that for the public. If we didn't have him, we wouldn't have all those statistics and a way to be able to measure yourself against the rest of the community. So, you know, Ripple's escrow got released. That was another 300 million at the beginning of the month. We haven't seen huge volumes on the ETFs here recently. So I'm going to guess close to $1 billion, maybe a little more than $1 billion between the OTC desk, the dark pools, and the exchanges. And that doesn't include what retail holds on exchanges. That includes what, you know, the exchanges have for sale.